My name is Bobette. I am from Congo. I was born in Congo, and my parents left Congo when I was about 2 years old for Belgium.
Today's video is about Bobette. Bobette is a doula living in Ghana with her family, and this is her story of her journey in Ghana and how it is to be a doula. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Right before I turned 30, I noticed that it's not a country where I wanted to spend the rest of my life. I decided to move to Canada. Something really told me go to Canada. 2 months before I turned 30, I moved to Canada. I spent 8 years there. I met my husband. We have 2 beautiful children. Immediately from the moment I arrived, I knew that I didn't want to stay in Canada either. Like, I've always been looking for a place, I guess, to call home, where you just feel 100% comfortable with the people, the climate, the environment. So then when I met my husband, he also did not want to stay in Canada. So we said, okay, 5 years after we are married, we're going to move to a different country. We almost lived a very humble life. We didn't have a car for years. We didn't spend money on trips. We didn't even go on honeymoon. Like, we were really just all about saving. When COVID hit, it kind of sped up the process for us. We really realized that, okay, we were kind of trapped, because I am a doula. I help women in their birthing process during the pregnancy, the birth, and the postpartum period. It was getting very challenging to go to the hospitals, to deal with clients. I did a lot of home births, so home births were all of a sudden illegal as well. So it was just really challenging. And for my husband as well, he's a DJ, he's a sound engineer and a radio host. So he noticed a couple challenges too. And we just knew that, okay, it was time to go. It was actually a tough decision, because we knew that we wanted to leave. We were ready, but we hadn't chosen the country yet. So we were going over lots of countries. Like I said, my husband's from Barbados, I'm from Congo. We thought about other places in the Caribbean, other places in Africa, but the way Ghana was promoted at the time with the year of return, it just seemed more attractive to us to come here and start off here first and then see where life will take us next. We had never been here. We just came, and our stuff came a month later. My personal experience in Ghana has been good so far. However, there's been a lot of challenges still. You have to be realistic. There's a few things that maybe we haven't done enough research, but things that I did not expect to be this case. So a doula is a birth companion. So usually doulas are, you can compare them to mothers or sisters, someone who cares for you during your pregnancy. Also someone who will advocate for you when you go to hospital visits, when you're giving birth. So they're really looking out for the best during the birthing process. So they make sure that nothing unnecessary happens. So we don't have like a full medical training, but we do know the basic of pregnancy and giving birth. How did I get into becoming a doula? So this starts from a long time ago. When I was 8 years old, I knew that I wanted to deliver babies for a living. I did study midwifery in Belgium. However, what I saw at the hospitals during my internship turned me off to the point where I actually quit. Racism was still very high there, so a lot of people just didn't want you to touch them. They were requesting for someone else, the same skin color. So it was challenging. And when you're 21, 22 years old, it's just too much, exactly. And then I forgot about it. I got into other things. When you're young, you just kind of switch from here to there. So once I moved to Canada, I noticed that there was such thing as a doula. I didn't know what a doula was, to be honest with you, 8 years ago. So I signed up for a class. It was about 6 months. I signed up for the class. It was given by a midwife. She taught me everything. She was the most amazing midwife I've met. I know until this day. She was also my midwife for my first pregnancy. And yes, like I've never looked back. This is definitely something that I've always wanted to do. So it's been well received because I noticed that there's a lack of empathy here. And also a lack of information. All my clients tell me the same thing. Most of my clients are first-time mothers. So they tell me the same thing. They go to a doctor's appointment. The doctor will do a blood test, a urine test. They will weigh them, check the baby's heartbeat through an ultrasound, and then ask them if they have questions. And every consultation is about 10 to 15 minutes. Obviously, when it's your first pregnancy, you have tons of questions, or you might not have particular questions, but you still have no clue what to expect, or very little. And that's something that's missing. It's like prenatal classes. Also, empathy, I noticed when you're at the birth, you will notice that I can't say you're just a number, but the way they deal with you is like, okay, come on, hurry up, there's other people waiting to use this room. Let me just say there's just a lack of empathy. Every woman deserves to be treated with respect and with love and care. Doesn't matter whether it's your first pregnancy or your sixth pregnancy or who you go see. And I've noticed here, it's just missing. So the main thing I always tell all my clients is that on one hand, you have the law. You also have hospital policies, which are not the same thing. Like the law might tell you one thing, the hospital policy might tell you something else. And then you also have basic human rights. And oftentimes when we go to the hospital, we believe everything that is being told. And honestly, I have nothing against doctors. Like my sister is a doctor, my cousins, my aunts, my mother-in-law, they're nurses. So I have nothing against the medical system. However, there is an agenda to make as much money as possible.